School, that thing a lot of us unfortunately go to. Unless you dropped out, graduated, or are homeschooled, then lucky you. School is something that everyone is required to do, and I'm pretty sure 95% of people hate it, unless you're brainwashed or absolutely insane. I think the concept of going somewhere to learn things is good, except the way the education system is made is absolute garbage, and the way school is run is even more hard garbage. Now, like every kid who screams, "I hate school," I could go on and on about spouting shit about it. So I'm going to split it up. One of the things I hate the most is the school schedule. Most importantly, waking up at 6:30 every morning. This is an absolute pain in the ass. Having my alarm wake me up in the morning, then having to get ready at the crack of dawn is an absolute nightmare. The bigger problem with waking up so early and going to school is your brain doesn't work properly until around 64 minutes after you wake up. So, going into school early, for example, in my school, we have assessments 4 times every year, and we have the assessments 15 minutes after walking in the morning. This hurts especially on Mondays, considering kids haven't gotten that much sleep, then are doing assignments with only about half their brains working properly. This also affects their grades, and is even worse with schools that have earlier starting times, like 7:30 or less. And parents wonder why their teenagers won't get out of bed in the morning. My next huge problem with school is how school is run. There are many different ways to make school fun, or at least appealing to learn. But for how most schools are run, or how mine is ran, they make it seem like an absolute fucking prison. Let me give you an example. In 2nd grade, I had a science teacher named Mr. Morris. Shout out to you, dude. You're like the best teacher I've ever had. We had a lesson on solids, liquids, and gases. And in one of the lessons, he brought us outside telling us he had an experiment as part of the daily lesson. He then began spraying us with water guns and threw a bag full of water guns on the ground for us to spray each other with. That was supposed to be an example for liquids, and let's just say that's the only time I've ever paid attention in science. Just saying, if you make it fun, it's really easy to remember. I have another example of making lessons fun, but I can't remember. Whoops. The next part of how they're run is how, at least in my school, I have this one math teacher that just makes us sit in a desk, not talking, and just copy notes off the board for an hour and a half. I have yet to learn a single thing from him, and it's been 8 months. It's frankly appalling how schools make us sit next to our peers like animals lined up in cages. While they shove needlessly pointless facts down our throat and then forcing us to regurgitate them back on a paper for various assignments and quizzes. You'd think that, at the very least, after a long day of sitting at desks listening at a teacher tell us nothing of genuine real-world importance, they would maybe let us talk? But no, we can't even have that one moment because we're still forced to silence until every last student is done getting their lunch. It's simply disgraceful. In fact, one of my buds got sent to detention recently because he dare speak a word to his friend, like any normal human word. I mean, for God's sake, how hard is it for schools to come to the realization that we aren't all spawn of Mark Zuckerberg? We are humans, not lizards, and humans are inherently social. I mean, for crying out loud, it's unhealthy to keep kids isolated from one another like that. Oh, my classes. Math is an absolute shit show, learning things that fly through one ear and out the other. In fact, I barely learned a scratch of information from my teacher, who speaks in a monotone voice and very slowly all day, every day. Nevertheless, you sit down for a long period and learn jumbled up numbers and symbols that you will literally, and I mean it, will literally never use these things again in your life. Like, what the hell do I need dilations for? Or 3-dimensional geometry? Where will I use this? The only math I've ever used outside of school is basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Nothing else. That's it. Science. The class where you learn most of the same things every year, just recycled and a bit harder. Gravity, magnets, or reproduction, biodiversity, solar system, with an added bonus of outdated textbooks from 2006 and an extra drop of Bill Nye the Science Guy. Social studies. This could have been really fun. It really could have been. In fact, last year when I listened to Hamilton the musical, I couldn't wait to learn about him in the Revolutionary War. But somehow, learning about wars and extreme political battles that topple systems and cause country outbursts is sought out to be absolutely boring. There are so many ways to make it fun and make people remember even more, but no, it rarely ever is that way. English. The class that makes me feel the same every time I walk in. Every year we go over pretty much the same thing: grammar, characters and plot, essay structure. But despite learning the same exact thing every year, it just drags on for even longer. the point doesn't even appear to me anymore. PE, or physical education. Most of the time our coaches in this class don't even feel like doing anything at all, so they just sit down and let us play dodgeball or do absolutely nothing. So, 99% of the time in gym, my friends and I just sit on the bleachers and get on our phones. It's completely pointless, and I'm not even sure how most of the coaches get the job. They're either extremely unqualified or just don't give a shit. At least, that's how it's been for me. If the classes, the system, and the schedule was not enough for you, maybe the other students may be just enough to make you realize. Constant physical abuse and mental abuse from other students, constant judgment, and it's pretty much absolutely terrifying. I was bullied from 3rd grade up until the very end of 7th grade, so I've had a little bit of experience in how terrible the other students can be. Punched, kicked, shoved into lockers, insulted, harassed, rumors, the whole gag. And the worst part is, 95% of the time, the teachers don't do anything about it, because they don't care. They still get paid anyway. This is everything I hate about school. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you all next week. Bye! Listen, I apologize if I didn't sound enthusiastic or normal in this video. I'm really sick, and I didn't want to miss it on a video despite being sick. I love you all, trust me. No homo, no homo. Have a good week and stuff.